Hello guys and gals, me Mutahar. A couple days ago I made a video called Google is Ruining Android. And today I'm here to say that Google is not only ruining Android, but they're actually doubling down on it. So this is from the president of Android's ecosystem, Samir Samat, who writes, "Sideloading is fundamental to Android, but it's not going anywhere. As we said in our blog, our new developer identity requirements are designed to protect users and developers from bad actors, not to limit choice. We want to make sure that when you download an app from a developer, regardless of where you get it, it's actually from them." Now you might be like, well, what is this in context to, Muta? The context is Google is severely limiting the ability to sideload an application onto the phone that you buy. Now, the reason why this is super important to me is obviously I made a video like, 3 weeks ago where I switched back to Android. Now, I unfortunately was an iPhone user for a fair bit, and you might be like, why would you ever use an iPhone, Muta? These phones are designed for babies. They're not open source and everything like the Android guys. The reality is I needed to use an iPhone because I had a lot of family and friends that absolutely use iMessage, okay? That little, blue-green bubble stuff was not just a joke. A lot of people were on like group chats and everything, and unfortunately I just had to be in the ecosystem. Now, ever since Apple introduced something known as RCS, switching back to Android has been easy. Messaging your friends, family, loved ones is easy. And if they still care about the color of the bubbles, then honestly, it's okay to cut ties with those people, okay? There's probably red flags that you're easily missing out on there. But what's funny to me is Android made this huge deal about Apple not fucking opening up at all. And when Apple did, suddenly we're all celebrating. Whoa, we can send a picture of our ball sacks to each other without it looking like a goddamn Japanese adult video. No, of course, ladies and gentlemen, this was a good thing that happened. And it's funny to me that out of nowhere, literally not really out of nowhere, Android has decided, yeah, we're going to implement that layer of security. So what this effectively means is they basically said that when they were analyzing all of the stores outside Google Play, they found that there was 50 times more malware, okay? 50 times more malware. Oh my God. You could get hacked if you install a random application. So to protect users, they added an extra layer of security called developer verification. So Android next year, globally, I think it starts with Brazil and a lot of the Latin countries first, then it goes to the rest of the world, okay? And eventually, it'll make it to the Great White North. Starting next year, Android will require all apps to be registered by verified developers in order to be installed by users on certified Android devices. You might be like, well, Muta, what's a certified Android device? Well, if you look here, ladies and gentlemen, these are a list of certified Android devices. Basically, every single fucking device on the market is a certified Android device. And there's a few exceptions around this, and we'll actually touch upon them towards the latter half of this video, and I'm going to show you how to get Google out of your phone, okay? Because honestly, I hate it when any company tells me what the fuck I can and cannot do on the phone that I buy, all right? It's just insanity. Now, of course, obviously, you might be like, Muta, this is really good. What about old people that get hacked? I just want to, get rid of the misinformation for you. Installing an APK on a fucking Android phone is not something that is super duper easy to do immediately off the bat. For instance, you go to a website, you download an APK file, which is effectively a package file that installs an application to your smartphone. Now, most smartphones, this is a Samsung Galaxy Fold 7, and probably shouldn't have bought this one actually, because it's one of the more restricted smartphones. I actually recently found out about Samsung. But you have to go to the settings. You have to navigate through the settings to something known as an auto blocker. You have to disable the auto blocker, and basically it will tell you if you install any applications, it could be a virus. I mean, I think that's good enough, right? A lot of operating systems do that. For instance, when you're on Windows and you're installing a shady application, sometimes you see that little red square that shows up and like, whoa, you better not run this. Oh, better not. But you still can. You have the choice. Macintosh is a great example, okay? You install a weird application onto your Mac, Mac will tell you, we're not going to let you run it, bro. It's scary on these streets. But you can go to the settings app, you can go to the security tab, and you can open the application anyways. You have to go through like 4 or 5 steps, but you still have the freedom. And I think it's good, okay? I think that's fine. I think friction is awesome. Because if I really care about running a shady app, I'll go through 4 or 5 fucking messages. I may not enjoy it, but I get what Apple, it's a fair compromise is what I'm saying. I don't think it's okay when you take that feature out entirely. So of course, obviously, Android has done that. They're going to be doing that, and maybe they'll hopefully change. Again, given Google's stance on a lot of stuff going forward, I'm not entirely sure. Now, obviously, with things like sideloading, I want to just start off by saying that there are applications that I'm sure Google is not entirely excited about. For instance, ad blocking applications that allow you to bypass advertisements on things like YouTube. You know, there are applications that may give you YouTube Premium features or YouTube Premium-like features, you know, entirely for free. In fact, most social media has become so enshittified that people are now looking to third-party applications that they are sideloading, just literally to actually, you know, get features back or get a more usable experience. And of course, obviously, there's other things like IPTV boxes, you know, where people watch like free television. You might have somebody who, you know, you ever drive outside and you just see like on the side of the road, free IPTV or something. You call somebody, you pay them like $100. They give you a little set-top box, and usually the box consists of a bunch of APKs coming preloaded that have like access to Netflix and all these things for free. And generally, I think a lot of these places are where Google wants to hit the hardest because there is a lot of malware on those streets. And I'm sure that there's a lot of people that get their shit hacked because they buy something for $100, put their login credentials through obviously malware-ridden applications, and bad things happen. Then, of course, the other scary thing is game emulators, right? For a lot of us on Android, one of the biggest advantages is having access to, again, great hardware, having access to the complete hardware, and then using that hardware to play a lot of games that we grew up with. For instance, playing DS games on an Android phone, easily possible. You can just unfold these devices. I want to see Apple try this, by the way. And then absolutely run DS games, Game Boy Advance games, even PlayStation 2 stuff runs really well on modern Android devices. And I've actually been playing a lot of old games, like Pokemon stuff on the DS. Just literally unfold my device for an hour, play a little bit, and then move on with my day. You know, a lot of these applications are actually going to be a little bit on the danger side. And of course, the other thing is obviously privacy-focused messages too. Like, for instance, you know, a lot of these applications that serve really, really important but niche needs now need developers to possibly dox themselves over to Google, right? To become a verified developer. Now, I'm sure for a lot of people that are in the emulator scene, and we've seen lawsuits happen recently, I'm sure some people are scared to dox themselves to YouTube to become that verified developer. The ultimate thing about it is obviously it should not be up to Google. It should not be up to Silicon Valley to decide for the entire world what we do with the hardware we buy. Imagine for just a fucking minute if you bought a Windows PC and Microsoft decided what the fuck you cannot install or do on your device. Imagine you buy a Mac laptop and Apple decides what you can and cannot do on your device. Would you be angry? I know I would. I know everyone would have a right to be angry. Okay, simple as that. We are so far away. Android came out, what, like over 15 fucking years ago? And it was a huge, huge deal, okay? It was a counter to Apple's iOS. It basically laid the market for like what is the most used smartphone operating system. In fact, what might be one of the most used operating systems in the world. Android was built on openness and freedom. And to take that back or severely start limiting and becoming another fucking version of Apple makes me wonder why I ever switched from the walled garden. Because honestly, if Android takes away some of these features, the literal, like, why would I need one of these devices? Apple does a lot of shit that Google does a lot better anyways. Now, one of the things that obviously I wanted to make this video for was not just to rehash or doom scroll, but also, is there a way to say fuck you to Google and keep your free phone, your freedom intact? Yeah, actually there kind of is. But before we go into it, obviously, if you remember a while back, like years ago, I made a video on something called the Freedom Phone. And realistically, I told you guys not to buy something like that because you could just spend the money on, you know, a device itself and then just install Android out of the box. So Android, the open source package. Now, Android is an open source system, but Google is now developing the entire OS fully in private. And one of the problems with this entire situation too is that Google, while they said they're going to be releasing this for the public too, like they're still going to be releasing the sources available as well. They're still going to be releasing the AOSP. Unfortunately, it is going to hinder a lot of situations for the third-party guys. So this is going to be a little bit of an issue for people that make privacy-focused versions or ROMs of Android. So the guys over at LineageOS, or what we're about to look into, obviously GrapheneOS. So for these guys, it's going to be a little bit more annoying that, of course, Android is kind of starting to pull in this stuff or make the development a little bit more opaque. Which again, all these things don't look that good. So let's try to get rid of Google from our devices. So surprisingly, what we need here is an actual Google Pixel, okay? I actually did have a Google Pixel 4a from the time we made that Freedom Phone video. Now, the process for this is actually painfully fucking easy. So we're going to walk through it in this video right here, and I'm going to show you how to get rid of Google on your phone so you can have an Android device that is fully your own and one that you are free from all of the bullshit that Google is adding. So you can hopefully install APKs and all this shit down the road, and you should be able to do this, again, at least with these Google Pixel devices. Your mileage may vary with other phones like Androids, like Samsung's, where again, with the problem with these phones is that they're actually pretty locked down from Samsung. So what we're about to do here with this Google Pixel isn't going to be something that's easily done with Samsung phones. So kind of put those away. And if you can do it with Samsung phones, they're probably just going to trip a security flag that'll remove like 7 or 8 features, like, you know, Apple, like Samsung Pay or whatever from your device, which I'm sure that some of you guys don't want. I'm sure some of you guys probably deal with banking applications on your phone, and I'm pretty sure you want to deal with them and not have something break down. But anyways, assuming that you've got a Google Pixel, let's get started. So immediately on your actual device here, you want to go to GrapheneOS, and you might be wondering, Muda, why do you not have Brave? The reality of this is I want to use Google Chrome simply because it's going to make the installation process a whole lot easier. Now with GrapheneOS, the actual installation is so easy if you have a Google Pixel that you hit that Install GrapheneOS button, and you get the option to do a web USB system, or you can do a command line installation. For the audience watching who wants it really easy, let's go with the web USB system. So when we get the web USB system up over here, the first thing it's going to ask us is if we have any of these systems. Now you can do this on Windows, you can do this on Mac, it all runs through your web browser. Now since I have Linux over here, you might have to change some things on your system like install certain packages and turn off certain services. But once everything is done, you can unlock the bootloader. So here's my phone. And yes, I am using an Apple Vision Pro as the first-person viewpoint for recording this, simply because it just makes it easier. Okay? I don't have a GoPro. I'm actually using the dumbest option for all of this. So obviously, we're going to turn off the device. We're going to shut it down. And once it's shut down, we're going to hit volume down, and we're going to hit up. So as we do that, what's going to happen is eventually a recovery mode gets triggered. So fast boot mode, as long as you see that, you're basically good. Now take a flash drive, take a USB, plug your phone in, and of course it will be detected hopefully by your system. Now when you go to unlock bootloader, it'll say bootloader unlocking triggered successfully. So on your phone, it'll say if you unlock the bootloader, you will be able to install custom operating software on this phone. So again, we're going to go down and just hit unlock the bootloader. So scroll down with the actual volume up, down, and then, you know, do what you have to. So of course, once that is done, what you need to do is see if the fast boot mode is available again, then you download the release. Now, because your phone is directly connected, it'll figure out exactly what you need. Now, this is a Google, I think it's a Google, Pixel 4a, so it's pretty out of touch anyways, it's pretty outdated. So it's actually not using, it's using like an end-of-life version. Again, do this with a Pixel 9 or Pixel 8. I don't know, I think the Pixel 10 just came out. I don't know if they have a ROM ready for it, but you get the idea. So again, you want to go to flash the release, and right here, it's actually doing all of this stuff. So within a fraction of the time, it's restarting the device, doing everything, writing those bootloaders, and of course, you can actually see that things are turning on and off. Again, make sure the USB remains connected. Don't remove anything during this, and just let it do what it needs to. Alrighty, so once it says flashed, this whatever your thing is to device, it'll be different depending on which device you have. So now you want to lock the goddamn bootloader. So right when you're on the screen over here, the fast boot mode, it's kind of hard to read with the blurriness. Hit that lock bootloader, and of course scroll down and lock that bootloader, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, once everything is locked down, I think you can just pull off the actual like USB, everything is flashed. And of course, now you can hit that start and it'll say your device is loading a different operating system. So again, this is obviously true. We're not running, you know, Google's version of or anything. This is literally running GrapheneOS right now. So again, you can see GrapheneOS over here, literally just that easy. And there's a couple features in this, like they can sandbox Google features. So again, you can control just how much information, from my understanding, that goes in or out of your device to services that you may not really trust, but you're forced to somewhat interact with. So again, the operating system is firing up. Let's give it a second. All right, so here it is, GrapheneOS. Hit that little start, and then of course you can pick your, country. So for instance, I'm going to go with English Canada here. That's my language. Then of course it'll ask you for your time, date, yada yada yada. Put whatever. Wi-Fi. You can put in your actual Wi-Fi address. Let me go here. So just to show you guys how an APK would work, I'm going to go to Epic Games Store, download it for my Android device, just to basically show you how this stuff works. So again, you download the APK, and it could be any APK. It really wouldn't matter. You don't have to worry about verification. So as soon as that's done, hit open, and immediately, even on GrapheneOS, it'll say, for your safety, you just can't install stuff unknowingly. So again, you go to settings, you allow it from the source, and then of course you then install. So it's still friction, but it's just, you now have the freedom to do whatever it is that you want. Now there's other options like post-market OS, which honestly I haven't really played around with, but I think they service more devices than Google, and you can obviously play around with this. So obviously now that I've installed this, I can go to the Epic Games Store, and then I can basically use this APK as I intended. So yeah, this is you getting a bit of your freedom back. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a video that I am going to be capping off. If you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike it if you dislike it. Remember, Google might want to take away your freedoms, but you don't have to let them win. You can obviously fight back. You can get access to your devices again. And, I think it might be something people may have to do down the road. So if you're somebody that isn't tech savvy, the process can literally be done with a USB cable, a smartphone, and a Google Chrome browser. So don't let anybody tell you you're too dumb to do this. Anybody can do this. If I can do it, you can. I am out.